Who is he? The black man, I mean. We see him on TV, hear him on the radio, watch him every Sunday night for football. But who is he really? Where is he coming from? What's it like in his head, knowing that the media perceives you as a thug or an athlete? That must be limiting to one's perspective, don't you think? Here are three black men from three different walks of life, ready to share with you their experience in America, land of the free.
My name is Dante Davis. I am 23 years old and I was born in Paramount, California.
My name is RJ. I am 22 years old and I am originally from Dallas, Texas.
My name is Dameon Reilly, aka Soul. I'm from New York, but I'm based out here in California, Long Beach. I'm 25. I just turned 25 actually.
First of all, I come from a big immediate family. I have 5 younger sisters and I am the only boy and the oldest. Same mother, same father, in case anybody was wondering. I kind of have been moving everywhere throughout my life. We never really stayed in one place. It's taught me to be very social, very, go with the flow kind of person. Changing my environment constantly, being in a house with all of those girls taught me a great respect for women as well. How to be personable and really goofy kind of person.
My upbringing, I feel, was very unique in a sense. I was raised an only child by a mother, who's of course African American, and a police officer as well. I was basically raised like a prince. I was a very spoiled child. It was a very unique childhood. Almost pretty much all of my needs and wants were met from a very young age, so I was very taken care of.
Originally, my family is from Rockland County, New York. I was born in Nyack. Social life was kind of boring. I grew up homeschooled for a majority of my life. I had gotten taken out of school in the 3rd grade because my parents just didn't want to deal with a lot of the stuff in the school system. The teachers always wanted to put me on meds because they thought I had like ADHD or ADD or whatever. I never really had one specific group of friends. I was kind of a social butterfly. My mom was a playwright, so I was always just around people, for shows that she did. She also ran a daycare, so I was around a lot of kids and parents. So I wouldn't say being homeschooled, I was really, isolated or anything. I had to learn more as I got older and, went to college, about just being a straight, sensitive male in this society.
I'd say when I looked in the mirror, it let me know I was the color black. But the moment I realized that I am different from other people was my experience living in Sierra Madre. Not a lot of black people in Sierra Madre. It wasn't until years after I, graduated middle school and looking back at it and thinking about why I was treated so differently, why I was such like this object. But Sierra Madre middle school, it was more like, oh, you're new, you're different. I've had the same hair pretty much my whole life, and people used to touch my hair a lot. I had different hair than them and they have never seen that before. I realized that I was their first point of contact in terms of black friends. That's when I realized I was black. Not in the moment, but years after, looking back.
It was sometime in high school. I can't remember the exact time, but it was around homecoming. And I was driving home and I had a bunch of balloons in my backseat and I was going through a residential area and I could barely see out of my back window because of course I had all the balloons back there. But what I did see were police lights, the red and blues. I never gotten pulled over before, so as soon as I saw it, my heart skipped a beat and I jumped and I pulled over. And as he was approaching my car, I honestly didn't know if I was gonna make it home or what was gonna happen because a lot of things tend to happen too African Americans, whenever police do tend to get involved, especially because my mom always warned me like ahead of time about things that happen to our people in our community. So it was a very vivid experience, if I do say so myself.
Oh, wow. The moment I realized I was Black was first grade. I used to get picked on a lot because up to third grade, there was a lot of white kids in my schools. Like I didn't have my first Black teacher until college. So I used to get bullied a lot because I looked different physically. And all these kids would be like, oh, look out, it's the Black kid. And I was just like, Black kid? Why do they keep saying that? I had to take it home to my mom later that day. I think I was crying too. I was just like, everybody keeps calling me a Black kid. I was like, Mom, what's a Black kid? She was like, oh, honey, that's what you are. And I was like, what does that mean? And she was just like, well, you see how our skin is a little bit darker than the rest of the kids? I was just like, I mean, yeah, but I thought everybody was like super different in like different ways. And she was just like, yes, but you're what's called a Black person here in America. Your skin color is darker, so they see you a certain way. And I was like, oh, did everybody know I was Black? Does everybody know I'm Black? She was just like, yes, everybody knows you're Black. I was just like, whoa.
I think it's definitely there. It's a tough one because me personally, like I said, I've grown up to really, be aware of my manliness and how that affects the people around me, my sisters, my mother, and the role that I play in the family. Looking at it on a wider scale, we're kind of groomed to be tough as Black men, because if you're more sensitive side, right, that's weakness.
I don't like it. I do not like it whatsoever. It makes me feel uncomfortable. I'm the type of person who believes that sexuality is a spectrum and gender is fluid. So I don't understand why you have to be forced into a box of either masculine or feminine when the entirety of it all is like a pure, complete balance. I feel like toxic masculinity holds us back as a society like way more than it should. And I feel like it just keeps back a lot of progress that can and should be made.
Oh man, it's like a hit or miss subject because the social norms in the Black community is so crazy right now because there's really no right way to be a man because there are not enough role models to kind of fit the mold and tell us, hey, look, listen, because there's the man can never cry or show emotion, this is the opposite of true because, my dad was one of the most emotional people I know. Like him, I've seen him and all of his brothers cry. They never were afraid to, shed a tear, which is, I thank God for my dad because he definitely set a good example for me as what a man really should be.
Knowing I'm a Black man, I feel like it's very shocking to people meeting me. People have this preconceived notion I should be very woke, I should be very tough, and then meeting me, it's like I don't know everything. I'm not gonna act like I'm the most woke person ever. I know that people expect me to be a certain way, but I know that I've been brought up, differently. Being the oldest too, all that responsibilities made me more in touch with that sensitive side of me. I think that's really been a factor in how I carry myself.
Being a Black man in this society is taboo. Every day whenever I walk out of my door, I feel like I have to present myself the way is more palpable to the masses. So we have to dress a certain way to make us look less threatening, more friendly, or we have to speak a certain way so that we're not seen as aggressive or agitated. We have to do things to make ourselves easier to be around people.
Wow, that's a loaded question actually. You got to be present constantly. Like I think that's the biggest thing. Be aware of the things around you because at the drop of a hat, things can change. It's a little scary, but it's part of that responsibility. It's important to know yourself as a Black man first before you carry yourself anywhere because You got to remember, just because you love yourself doesn't mean the world loves you. You got to pave the way. You really got to pave the way for other people that look like you to really make it. You got to be a stepping stone almost. It's super important. The world doesn't really love us, the way we thought it did.
Me being heterosexual, I think that it provides, certain situations, more comfort for people because I think they're used to a certain world, where it's like black and white, like you're African American, you're a male, you like women, right? And I think that that's a lot of what people are used to today, right? And I think that there's been an upbringing of just something different, a world that has always existed, right? Beyond of what people think is only there. And I think that my sexuality probably makes people think that I'm stuck in the old ways of things, or either they think that I'm not aware of how I benefit so much.
My sexuality does make me more of a target. I am a part of the LGBTQIA+ community, but it does make me more of a target because now not only am I black and a man, but I'm also a LGBT+ black man. I was already born with 2 strikes against me, and then as I discovered myself, I now discover I have a 3rd strike. So I really have to watch myself in a sense so that way I'm not targeted by people outside of my community, but as well as inside of my community, because my sexuality isn't a thing that's really welcomed inside of the African American community, because as a black man, I'm supposed to be tough, I'm supposed to be really masculine, I'm supposed to be macho, I'm supposed to be a protector, I'm supposed to be all of these things that society says I'm supposed to be. But at the end of the day, all I can really be is myself, and if I'm not, then I'm not living my truth.
It's stupid that you even have to bring it up, but because, people are so quick to tell you who you are when you haven't even told them yourself first, Sexuality definitely plays a big key because for most black men, they automatically assume you're either a predator, you're either a thug. Just for being a straight black male, you're supposed to be a basketball player, a rapper, even though gay blacks can do that too. I don't even know the proper term, so excuse me. They make it seem like, if you're homosexual and you're black, you can't be in the NFL or in sports, but they don't bat an eye when you're like doing a fashion show. They're like, oh, okay, you're expected to do that. It definitely plays a huge part, especially with the police. Oh yeah, with the police, they really don't know how to handle people. If I were a black woman, they would have no chill at all. Honestly, I feel like they be beating on black women more than they be beating on the black men. Well, black women, oh my gosh, they be beating up on their face. Like, they don't be beating on the black men's face. They be breaking their joints and they be like shooting them, but they be beating the women in the face and they be touching them up.
For me, seeing those red, white, and blue lights behind you, that moment for me personally is like the scariest moment. You just don't know. Your fate is in somebody else's hands. You don't know what kind of officer they are.
I feel like the biggest fear for a black man is honestly society, because society does paint this picture of us in a very aggressive fashion. Whenever a new life is taken by police brutality or by any other means, it's kind of downplayed, and in most cases, the media doesn't address it. When the media does address it, they're only addressing the aggressiveness. Like how we've had riots recently, they're only addressing the things that will get them ratings, the things that make us look more aggressive and outrageous when we're just upset and sad and angry that our people are being killed for no reason than just a busted tail light.
That one hits home really badly because, especially as a performer, as somebody that loves music, right now my biggest fear is not seeing my dreams fulfilled before I die, because I could die at any moment for no apparent reason. It's one of those things where so many young black artists die before they can hit big. I think about that a lot. I shouldn't have to think, damn, am I gonna die as soon as I go to the store? Or damn, am I gonna die as soon as I walk out on the road? Like, it's no joke. The fear is being a walking target for no damn reason at all. You're just trying to live your life. You're trying to make it out here. We got, how many handicaps? People hate us. People want to kill us. People don't necessarily hate us but want to kill us. People that don't necessarily want to kill us but are curious about us but don't want to respect us. When you look back at history, you don't see your kind being lynched, burned, tied up, drowned, ripped apart, constantly raped for no apparent reason. We literally inspire culture. Nothing moves without us. Everybody's always looking to us. Oh, what are the blacks doing? We literally inspire the culture. We inspire the world, but nobody wants to keep us alive. What are they going to do when we're all gone? As a black person, that's a real possibility.
I just recently learned about what microaggressions are. Basically like subtle ways in which maybe you were racially profiled. I had to just recently think of like the times that that's happened to me. It's been the people who are my own friends and my own people. That's what kind of made it sting that much more. I've heard things like, oh, I went to the beach one day, man, and like I think I came out like I was just as dark as you. You don't know how to respond to stuff like that. When they happen, like in the heat of the moment, by a friend, you don't want to respond and be that like upset, angry black man, you know? You don't want to fit into a stereotype.
So for me, I've experienced a lot of microaggressions, especially because I am very free and liberal with some of the things that I say, how I choose to express myself as far as what I wear. And I'm not gonna lie, I will walk out in a crop top because I love my body, I love myself. I feel like it's a great way to express myself. But whenever I do these things, I get looks and side eyes from not only like males within my community, but like males outside of my community, because it's not a thing that a guy does. Like, I shouldn't be wearing a crop top because that's more effeminate. As far as stereotypes, honestly, whenever I walk into a store, I try to make myself not look threatening or aggressive, but whenever I'm walking through a store, there's always that one employee that you just like see around every aisle for some reason and you just don't understand why, but then you realize that you're in a store and you're black, and because there's such a stigma against the African American community, they have to watch you or they choose to watch you. And it's upsetting.
Anytime somebody says, but what about black on black crime? I'm just like, all right, so clearly you already don't believe me, because you already believing the narrative that we just out here killing each other like nobody else kill each other. So you clearly have a low-key hatred for me if that's an excuse for not supporting. There's a people that gotta defend their right to say the N-word. Be like, oh, I have black friends and they said it was okay. But no, if you need somebody's permission to say it's okay and you felt comfortable in the moment and now I made you uncomfortable and you gotta defend yourself, no. You have a deep hatred. Even if you don't hate, there's still something that lets you think that that's okay. And then there's people that make everything racial when it wasn't even a racially driven conversation. I think I was talking about ramen before with this one white lady, and then she brought up, how her and some of her black girlfriends and her went out to eat sushi and they had the best ramen. I was like, I didn't ask about the black girlfriends. I just said I like ramen. It didn't have to be a whole black thing or a whole race thing.
When I date within my race, I feel like there's less explaining I expect myself to have to do in terms of like my jokes that I make or food that I like or just things that bother me, things that go on in the world and stuff like that. Versus if I were to date someone outside of my race, I kind of expect myself to kind of have to get them used to how I view the world and how I carry myself and what bothers me, what triggers me, things like that. And it's more of a transition when you're dating outside of your race.
Dating within my race, there once again comes that stereotype to where I should be a man, I should be macho, I should be a protector. And honestly, if I were to try to date a female, I know my sexuality would be a problem because that's not masculine. There shouldn't be a societal stigma on what a man is or should be, and take that and put it outside of my own race. It's the same thing, but some people inside your community who look at you and is like, why are you dating X, Y, and Z? And then there's also the scenario where if you are in a relationship outside of your race, there's the good possibility that you are being fetishized, because Black men, there's the stereotype that, we have. If a Black man doesn't look a certain way, then he's not attractive to X female or Y female, and that's inside and outside of our community.
Race needs to really stay out of love, because I'm a firm believer in you love who you love. When you take away the race, you still got expectations. So there was a post about how Donald Glover was married to a white woman. The caption was, we need to talk about how as a Black man, it was hard to date Black women because Black women didn't like weird Black guys. And all the women were just like, oh no, we liked weird Black guys and we were there. You just weren't looking at us. And blah, blah, blah. Like, no. Because y'all was mean. If you met Michael B. Jordan years ago and he told you he was watching Naruto, you would have laughed in his face. Even if in the back of your mind, you're just like, oh, I love who I love. Doesn't mean the other person thinks that way. That other person is probably going to be thinking about, oh, my parents probably won't like him because he's Black, because he lives a certain way, but I love him because all chocolate men are my favorite. Like the fetishizing, it's a huge issue.
We are not all the same. We are all unique, and we all have something to say. A lot of us are quiet about some things, but if you really sit one of your Black friends down and ask them, have I ever done or said anything to offend you in any way, shape, or form, I guarantee you they might have something to say.
Whenever you wake up and look at yourself in the mirror, can you truly say that you can walk out of your own door and feel safe and be happy with who you are, knowing that you are putting your best foot forward, that you are being kind, considerate, and generous, not just to yourself and to your immediate friend group, but to everyone inside and outside of your race? And if you can't, you should really do some self-evaluation.
I think what's important is that, yeah, we're all angry and we're all going through things, we're all stressed about different things, but we got to remember to really take care of ourselves and really, really love on the people that really matter. We really should be trying to get back to the core of the problem, and that's the human condition.